What's up, YouTube? We have got part 2 of the $1,050 Thursday, no, not Thursday, Super Tuesday deep run here for you guys. Also, we got a little cheeky Hot 215 action. We just left off the last video on, we lost a big pot with Pocket 8s. Definitely head back into the videos and check out part 1 of this, little mini 2-part series if you want to be updated on that. But yeah, other than that, let's hop into the action and enjoy the video. For the ace-9 here. This is just going to be an open push, I think, with this amount of big blinds from this position. I can see raise folding being an argument into certain opponents, but God is real. Defended 5-2 suited before, so he's not one of the opponents that raise folding is going to be better versus. I think it's just going to be better in general to go all in here. And we're going to take it down. I was talking with a friend as well after the tournament just about timing tells and how, waiting for like a few seconds when you're one tabling at least in like a mid to high stakes tournament can be very useful and helpful. At least if you're one tabling in like spots where people are paying attention, because if you have an auto fold, then people know that you have a trash hand, So the second that you start tanking and thinking about raising or thinking about a raising size or thinking about reshoving, then it's very apparent that you have at least a playable hand. Which, I mean, obviously if you're going to be putting chips in the middle, you have a playable hand for the most part, especially at the stack depth. But it's even more important in live poker, to be honest. But I think online, because people pay more attention in live poker. But online, a lot of people might not be paying attention. A lot of people might be playing a lot of tables and not even have time to pay attention. But I feel like deep in the Super Tuesday or, any 1K online for that matter, getting deep in, you are going to be generally paying attention just to the one table or even just one tabling. So you get to see a flop here, which is really nice. We just check back the 10 deuce. I mean, pretty fine, pretty standard, pretty good. He leads out. We're gonna call, of course. I thought about raising for a second here. So I say of course. Obviously, it's kind of a silly thing to say. But I did think about raising here, but I don't know if we want to raise here because I don't think we're looking to commit our stack at this point with 10 deuce. And if we raise, I can't really see us raise folding a top pair like 17, 18 big blinds deep. So we'd have to be raise calling with 10 deuce, and it just doesn't seem like the play here, Because we don't really have that many bluffs when we raise the flop. So he's not going to really ever like spew with like, a gut shot like queen jack with a gut shot or something. I don't think. So yeah, I think calling is just better. And we'll definitely be calling the turn here if he bets. I can't remember what he does. But if he does put a bet in, then we will be calling. And if he checks, I think it's a good time for us to bet. Again, it would be unfortunate for him to have him shove the turn. But not nearly as unfortunate as if we'd raised. In fact, I feel pretty good about bet calling the turn here with 10 deuce. Since I think a lot of his like better value hands do actually barrel. And I think he's going to check shove a lot of draws. And hands like queen 9 even. Sometimes in 9-7, any flush draw. I feel like those are all reasonable hands for him to check shove. I also think those are reasonable hands for him to barrel though. So that kind of situation sort of comes down to the player. I am going to bet here. It looks like I'm just deciding what amounts to bet. So we go a little bit on the bigger side here. We size up, the illusion of like the kind of river shove. If he had called that, there would have been 78k in the middle, and I would have had about 90 behind. So a very reasonable stack the pot ratio to have a river shove there. And yeah, like I said, I want to charge the draws. I want to charge any gut shot. I don't want to bet like a quarter pot here and give him like a really good price to draw with a hand like queen jack or queen 9 or 9-6. Any sort of like a speculative gut shot. A gut shot's not really great. Like jack 7, for example. Two straight draws and an overcard. We don't want to give those kind of hands a super good price. We want to give them a little bit of a bigger price. So we do go for the limp here with the 10-8. We see a great flop. We are going to continue. We're going to continue here. We're going to bet. I don't know if you call this continuation betting. I actually have no idea. Sometimes I do and sometimes I don't. Sometimes say we're going to continuation bet and sometimes say we're going to bet. Like, I guess since it does go like this, we do technically have, like, the betting lead because we have the first option and there's been no former bets. But, like, when I think of a continuation bet, I think of, like, I raise pre-flop and then somebody calls and they check to the raiser and I, as the raiser, continuation bet, I don't know, though. I don't know if that's the case. So I'm getting real excited with the cards here. We are going to barrel, and this time we're going to bet a little bit bigger than we did in the flop. We bet a little under half pot on the flop, and this time we're going to bet a little bit larger. A lot of scary rivers here. We're praying for no seven of clubs, that's for sure. An ace, a queen, a jack, a king, a 9, a 7. These are all really bad river cards. We have bottom 2 pair on an incredibly coordinated board. A club is kind of whatever, because if he's got a flush, he's got a flush. Like, if this comes off like deuce of clubs, then we're either still going to consider value betting the river. You know, I don't think I'd shove, because I think it's kind of hard for him to be calling with, like, a 1-pair hand. He's got to find, like, a king 9 or, I mean, any king for that matter. I mean, queen jack or jack 9 or jack 7 or something. This is if the river comes like a deuce of clubs, you know? So I don't even feel super confident value betting. Even on an offsuit deuce, I don't feel incredibly comfortable value betting, because he's got to call us with a weak 1-pair hand, you know, generally. So I'm not really sure what I would have done on a great river, but this river, I think we're going to check and decide. And I think we're going to land on check folding. I don't really think he has a lot of hands to turn into a bluff here. Like, most of the hands that he calls 2 barrels with are either going to have improved to a better hand than what we have, or have enough showdown value to check back. Like, even a hand like, you know, king 5 here just wants to check back. He doesn't want to turn top pair into a bluff when I've bet twice and now given up, you know? There's a good chance that I have an ace-high sort of hand or some sort of bluff. Maybe he would want to turn top pair into a bluff, to be honest, to try to get us to fold exactly this kind of hand. But, like, that's a pretty small range of hands that he even has turned into a bluff. Like, I don't think he's ever turning 2 pair into a bluff. Definitely not at least, like, jack 10, where, like, he beats a bunch of 2 pairs already. So, yeah, and he has a bunch of straights. Like, he just has a ton of value hands and not a ton of hands that he can be bluffing with. So I think we're ultimately just going to check fold here. Even on like different rivers, you know, even like the deuce, like deuce river. I think on a deuce river we could check call then. Like a deuce of spades river we could check call then, because it does make a lot of sense for him to have a few more bluffs. And on top of having a few more bluffs, he can also have so we just quickly fold as well. He can also have some weaker value hands, you know? If he shoves, probably not many weaker value hands than our 2 pair. But, like, if he just bets, like, half pot or something, he could easily have, like, king 9 or king queen or, you know, just any king that he wants to value bet now. But he does shove on us, right? Yeah, he does shove, and we just quickly fold. We made up our minds by that point, and we just give it up. Ace king on the button. We have a hand that we could shove. I do think we want to shove this kind of hand sometimes to be balancing. But I also think there's these 2 homies that I want to just be a raise calling, raise getting it in. I mean, I literally was thinking in this hand, okay, I'm going to spoil the outcome a little bit, but I literally was thinking in this hand that, like, new guy's kind of aggressive, and he knows that I'm pretty aggressive. New guy's, like, actually really aggressive, and, like, he knows that I'm pretty aggressive, so there's, like, a reasonable chance that he might take, like, you know, some sort of good equity suited hand, like jack 10 suited or ace 8 suited, or, you know, even a hand like jack 8 suited, and, like, 3-bet me and call it off. Because he can 3-bet me and put a lot of pressure on me, and I can never really continue without a good hand, you know? Like, I can't raise here with jack 10 offsuit and then call a 3-bet in position because my stack isn't big enough. So I think it's pretty reasonable for him to do that with a lot of hands. And that's what I was thinking might happen. And then he did this, and I was like, well, this is the exact kind of 3-bet where it's like, okay, I'm 3-betting 3.5x. I'm committing to the button open, but I'm not committing to the big blind. Otherwise, you'd think he'd probably go smaller. You know, generally, he might go like 39k or 38k here if he wanted to leave it open for Barrosito to come in. But I was actually correct in my thinking. I say that I was correct in my thinking before. Maybe you guys won't believe me, but it's just genuinely what I was thinking when we did this. And he does end up having some sort of weird hand. Yeah, 10-9 suited. I couldn't exactly remember what it was. But yeah, like I said, I think that makes sense, his line of thinking. And 10-9 suited has fantastic equity against ace-king and ace-queen and ace-jack, you know, the 3 hands I probably induce with. 10-9 suited has less equity versus, you know, 10s, jacks, queens, kings, aces, though. But a very much needed double up for us, and we are up to just under 30 bigs. So at this point, I made the final table of the Hot 215. I was playing this on the side as well, and I realized that, you know, in case I do review this at a future date, then I should be recording the Hot 215 as well. So I don't quite record the Hot 215 as much as I should have, but we are 9-handed on the final table here. First place in this tournament as well is $10,247. All folks on the final are guaranteed just under $900. We are coming in 1 of 9, a pretty good situation to be in. Yeah, so I don't think there's like as much filming as there should be for this, but there will be some hands, and we will be, you know, checking them out and giving them a review here. So, 10s here. UT Reg, who is a relatively aggressive player, has raised up in early position. He is raising off about 26, 27 big blinds. I don't really think there's any play here other than 3-bet shoving. There's a 34K stack, an 85K stack, and then we cover everybody else. So there is a decent amount of ICM, even though we are in the chip lead. It's not like a massive, huge chip lead. It's a, you know, become someone has 208 and we have 216 to start the hand, so it's pretty close, pretty shallow. It's a turbo, of course. So yeah, I think shoving is just the only play here. And I believe we are going to see a fold. We gotta get the purple felt out, of course, before you go all in. That's the most important part of this hand, for sure. Alright, so he does fold. We have King Jack on the button here. I'm gonna go ahead and assume that with a picture of what is probably his baby, the fact that he has 3 stars and he's open limping the cutoff, which is generally not an advisable play, that he is going to be a recreational player. So I'm going to isolate him in position here. This is a pretty reasonable flop for us, you know. It's not the best possible flop. We would have preferred to have top pair. I'd preferred not to be beaten by a pair of queens, but it is a pretty good flop. He's going to bet 12K. And I'm just going to, you know, not be super pumped about this, but happily call getting 5-1 here with the pair of jacks and just assume that he can easily have a worse hand than me. He checks it here on the river, and at this point, I don't know if he checks a queen on the river. I mean, I think that he might check a queen sometimes on the river, but I also feel like he probably has a lot of hands like, you know, 8s and 6s and ace-7 and jack-10 and you know, even like 3s and deuces and even some ace highs like ace-10 and like ace-9 and ace-8. Like just like a ton of hands that we do beat that he does lead out that tiny weird bet on the turn. And I just think those amount of hands outweigh the amount of times he has queen X. So we should put in a small value bet here. So I bet really small, I think. 18.7. It's not really small, but it's pretty small relative to the pot. And he ends up just snap calling with queen 10 and winning the pot. So that was a little bit of an unfortunate result. But I do like our line. I like our value bet. And I think it's just sort of an unfortunate board. But yeah, he limp called queen 10 off in the cutoff, so we can safely assume that he is most likely a recreational player. So this is a pot we missed in the Hot 215 there. Looks like there's an under the gun shove, and it ends up being a 3-way all in. Jermaxi having the ace king and binking it off versus both of the pairs for the beautiful double ladder for the boys. And we're up to $1,650. So, just like that, we are down to 5. There is another, like, literally, like, what, like, 1 hand later, 2 hands later, it looks like there is another 3-way all-in. Yeah, that's right, I remember this. We don't actually see the action, but I'm going to go ahead and assume that it went with Jermaxi raising, Mogul Vet going all-in and become someone just overcalling the big blind. Because he looks like he's playing for the main pot, which is, you know, 3 big blinds apiece, 3.5 big blinds apiece, so... Don't really think he could ever fold a pair there in the big blind. But yeah, Jermaxi is just going to take it down. And we're just 5-handed just like that. You know, not a ton of excitement between 9 players down to 5 players. Probably like 10 hands or so at the final table. And we are 5-handed guaranteed $3,032. So all that being said, this is still a very easy shove. You know, 18 big blinds blind, or 17 big blinds blind versus blind with a suited ace-6. Still a very, very, very easy shove. It is a little bit nerve-wracking, though, of course. So we do get that through, and now the next hand, we have an isolation situation. I would isolate ace-10 offsuit as well here. I don't know about the rest. I think ace-9 suited and ace-8 suited would also be in that range of isolating. But beyond that, it starts to feel pretty gross. I wouldn't isolate ace-9 offsuit, and I can't see myself doing ace-6 or ace-7 suited. So ace-8 suited, ace-10 off. Maybe ace-9 suited, ace-10 off. But I'm not 100% certain about Ismail's ranges. But this is a no-brainer. And he's got queen-jack. We do have him dominated. He's dead on the turn. Literally dead on the turn. It's a beautiful thing. And we are 2 of 4. Pretty nice. Pretty nice. Here, though, in the Super Tuesday, we are going to flat ruse button open with King 9 suited. This hand's a bit too good to 3-bet. I think it plays super well in position, and if we 3-bet here, then we basically have to fold to a 4-bet, and I'm not really interested in doing that with a hand like King 9 suited. And that is exactly why, because that is a pretty wonderful flop. I think we want to check back this flop. I don't think this is like a really great, fantastic flop for us to steal on, so I don't really think that we have an insanely wide range when we bet here on the button, but we will have some things like, you know, Jack 10, Jack 9 of clubs, maybe some Ace Jack and Ace 10s that we want to take a stab with sometimes. But for the most part, I think that we're just checking back our junk here. So I don't really think it makes a ton of sense for us to be betting. I'm not sure. Okay, so we do check. So we turn 2 pair. We still have the second nut flush draw to go with it. We're feeling pretty good, feeling pretty great. I would think that Rue probably continuation bets Jack 10, so I don't really think he has Jack 10 very often. And I don't think that New Guy has it because I think he probably leads the turn a lot of time, unless he was planning on check raising the turn, which is also possible. But for the most part here, I think we're just going to bet and take it down. We can't check again. We have to bet now. We need to get some chips in the pot. We need to protect from a Jack or a 10, but more than anything else, we just need to get some chips in the pot. I mean, we have a very good hand. So we are going to bet. But I do think that this is mostly going to be go check fold, check fold. Unless, you know, like New Guy or Rue has like a Queen Jack or Queen 10 type hand, they want to call with a pair and a gut shot, but they do both fold, which is pretty unfortunate considering how hard we smashed that flop. And in the hot 215, we have another all-in. Maxi is literally just knocking everybody out. He raised the button here, and UT Reg rejammed the King Queen suited. Maxi called it off with the 7s, and we're 3-handed, guaranteed $5,574. King 5 suited, still want to raise the button here against the bag and the big blind. Well, Maxi is going to go wide. King 5 suited is still just too good in my opinion. But we get rejammed on, and this 3-handed is not going how we wanted to start off here. Got a pair, pretty good. Going to bet, because I think that the bag mostly is going to be betting his bigger pairs. We turn a gut shot as well, but he snap calls on the flop. And he did play that Queen 10 pretty passively before when he had top pair, so he could easily have like a 9 or a 10 here. So I'm just going to give up the hand and see what happens. We get to the river and he bets 42k. I feel pretty terrible about everything here. I mean, I think that he could be betting a 10, a 7, a straight. I just don't really see him having a ton of bluffs. He's basically got to have like King Jack or Queen Jack for a bluff. Honestly, maybe we could throw a call in here. What's he got to have? He's got to have King Jack or Queen Jack or a random ace high. Right? Like 7, 8, Jack 8. You know, a 10 is still there. 7, 8, 8, 6. All these hands get there. King Jack, Queen Jack, King Queen, and random ace high are really the only things that can be bluffing here. We are the short stack now, and we have, what do we have, like 14 blinds or so? Yeah, 14 blinds. I think we should be shoving the Queen 8 offsuit here, and we get a fold. Like, we're just like praying. We're just like, come on, Maxi, get it in. Ladder me up. This dude Maxi literally laddered me to 3rd place here, right? Like, he knocked out everybody. I knocked out one dude. And then I think he knocked out literally everybody else. Yeah, he did. So he knocked out 5 people. I knocked out 1 person, and the bag literally just sat there. Pretty fucking fantastic final table for everybody involved here. So we see the all-in, and we're super happy about this until we see that it's ace-queen versus ace-queen. And then this we said to get scared by, because if he doubles up and they both have heaps of chips, then this 3-handed gets so much worse for us. And I think he does get there. No, he doesn't get there. I thought he got there. We are raising the ace 10 up under the gun in the Super Tuesday, and also playing the King 10 suited here. I think we go all in, but I think we should have just called. And we got King 10 suited facing a 2.5x. We don't really know much about this player. We know that he seems a little bit on the puntier side, just from like the general way of like limp calling the Queen 10 before. But yeah, I definitely think that we should just call here in retrospect. I'm pretty sure that I shove. But we should definitely just call here 15 blinds deep in position. King 10 suited. Hand plays great. See a flop. Who knows? I might have been flustered from the 1K. I am playing the hand over there with the ace 10, I think. Oh, so I do just call. Okay, cool. I couldn't remember. And we do flop an open ender. He's going to continuation bet. Okay, so 30,000. Okay. So if I call this bet, then there's 125,000 and I have 120,000 behind. I have basically a pot size bet left. If I don't get there on the turn and he shoves, I'd have to fold. I won't be getting the right price to call. with an overcard and an open-ender. So I think that it makes a ton of sense just to go all in here, give ourselves a chance to win the pot right here, right now, if he's bet folding with a hand like, you know, ace-10 or something. And otherwise, you know, get it in with an overcard and an open-end straight shot. Maybe our overcard's not good. Maybe he's got, you know, a king-queen or something like that. Or he blocks some of our outs with ace-queen. But we're going to have enough equity and enough outs here to make this a profitable play, basically, no matter what. Unless he just has, like, aces and kings only pre-flop, but there's no chance that this guy has that. So we do go all in. He calls. He's flopped very well. He has top 2 pair. We have an open-ender, 8 outs, and we don't get there. So we do end up getting 3rd place for $5,574.06. Overall, not bad. Little 2K Turbo Fiesta on 8 in the background there. I was flicking some tourneys in this day. We do end up getting 3rd place. You know, not a bad score, not terrible stuff, but ultimately not quite what we wanted. We wanted that extra $5,000 for 1st place, but we can't complain about how that final table went. We played maybe 20 or 25 hands and laddered to 3rd place by playing like 2 hands in the final. We shoved the 10s. We played that king-jack hand, and we didn't really play any other hands until we just got to 3-handed. Like, pretty insane. Really nice to just ladder up like that. So we do go for the steal here in the hijack with the ace-8 offsuit. We see a flop of Jack-Jack 4, a very dry board. So what I think that we could have done here is either check back the flop or bet. I think betting works pretty well because I would say on Jack-Jack 4 Rainbow, we have the best hand with ace-8, like a really high percentage of the time. So I think betting super small, like, you know, 12 to 15K seems pretty good there, like we did. And now we are going to see a turn. I don't think we want to bet here. I don't... I guess I'm betting just because he probably floats us a bunch, and maybe I'm considering, like... Does he fold? Like, he doesn't fold any pairs here, right? He folds all of his ace-highs. But he doesn't... He's not folding, like, a 4 or, like, 5s or 6s or 7s. Maybe I thought in the hand that he would fold, like, 5s, 6s, or 7s here. But he's only really going to fold if I smash out the river as well. And I'm not going to smash out the river here, I don't think. So I think this turn bet is actually not great, I don't think. I don't know. I think maybe we should probably just check it back. He does call, and then he checks the river. And at this point, I'm like, well, does he just have a fucking jack? Or does he just have 2 9s? Or, like, what's going on here? You know? So we do end up checking back the river. And he does have quads. So he had his daily quads. Good for him. Very important to find your daily quads, guys. A day is not truly complete unless you have quads. We have a couple of 8s here. We are going to raise it up in the cutoff with the intention to get it in. If the Muppet reshoves, we'll call. If you want alone shoves, we'll call. I think if you did them 3-bet, we'd have to go with it as well. I can't really see myself raise folding 8s with 22 blinds in the cutoff. And we end up seeing a flop versus you want alone. I'm not sure what to do on this flop with this kind of hand. I don't really want to check because I want to bet when we have the best hand a lot of the time here. I want to protect our hand from overcards coming. But I also don't want to bet because I don't want to get raised. If I get raised, I'm not really looking to stack off with 2 8s here, but I feel like this hand is way too good to be bet folding. I think I do like a check back, so I'm not really sure I do. I do end up betting. I really think we can go either way, and I think it depends on you one alone. I don't really think he's going to go wild here and check raising us. That's a fantastic turn card. I think we do want to be... do we want to bet again? Like, how many 8s do we have, right? We don't really have that many 8s, and when we barrel here, he has a lot of 8s, and we don't have that many. So when we barrel, we're kind of saying, like, we either have an 8 or we have some sort of weird bluff, you know? I think we should check back this turn and let him try to rep the 8 as a bluff on the river. I think I bet it, actually. And, like, I remember just after thinking about, like, ugh, I really hate this. I should have checked back. Yeah, this is just not good. This bet's too big as well. I don't really know what I was thinking on this turn bet. I'm pretty sure he folds. Yeah, just a big misplay there. I mean, I do have some 8s, like 8-7 suited and stuff like that, raising pre-flop here. But I still think that I want to be checking back that turn and giving him a chance to, you know, try to rep the 8 on the river and bluff the river, bluff us off of, you know, whatever we have, like our jacks or queens and stuff. Bison Fish, though, with a 1.3 million chip stack size, raising the button here. I did say he might be the tightest before, but that doesn't mean to make him tight. That would have meant he was the tightest out of the 5 people that I was talking about. So I definitely think that he's raising wide enough for this to be a reshove. We can profitably call it as well. I just think that we win the pot so often here with a shove that we do need to be shoving, and he does muck it. All right, we got a little ace-queen suited action here. We're wagering all the chips. 14 big blinds, easy shove. All in against eights. I don't know why it went so fast. But we've got ourselves a cheeky little double up here. We shove the 14 big blinds with the ace-queen suited beyond standard. Get ISO'd by the pocket eights. An ace on the flop. And a boat on the river. The boat is full, bitches. The boat is full. We go for a steal now with the queen eight suited. Never mind. Victor again has stolen our spot. But just like that, we're up to 30 big blinds. One more double up and we've got like 900k, a million chips. It's a beautiful spot to be in. Can steal this one for sure. We're getting a pretty good price here. But we're not getting a good enough price with our stack size. So we are getting 127k into 231. Pretty good price. A reasonable hand to call in these spots because you have great equity versus, you know, any high card, any ace, king, ace, queen, ace, jack. Obviously, any pair, sevens or higher, you don't have great equity verse. And he might not even be shoving like sixes here or fives. I mean, he probably shoved sixes and sevens and potentially fives. Potentially fives. Also, like, you know, ace-10 suited plus, I'm sure. Ace-10 offsuit plus even. So there are a lot of hands that we have very reasonable equity verse. I think it's too much of our stack size to call. I think going down to 300k kind of sucks here. Having a little over 400 is just so much better. But say we have big Pandao stack here, I would be calling because I think that the odds are the right price for us. I just want to preserve my stack a little bit, and I think it's a little bit too gambly for us to be putting it in with the 8-7 there. I didn't shove. Okay. So we do just end up going for the min raise. I do think that shoving 21 big blinds here with Jack-9 suited is the best possible play. I don't know how this goes. Ay, and we get shoved on as well. So that's a mistake, I think. It's definitely a profitable push with the Jack-9 suited there. And we have great equity. I mean, he could have been reshoving on me with like a hand like ace-8 offsuit, you know? Where we're like effectively flipping. He could have been reshoving on me with like 2 4s or 2 3s or 2 deuces even. Like, I can't explain. I just think it's, or I can't explain. I can't say enough that I think that should be an open shove. And that we just open ourselves up to getting exploited way too much. And Jack-9 suited is just too good of a hand to be raise folding. 13 people left. We raised the jacks off of our 18 big blind stack. Big Pandao flats the button. Kev Boy Star in the big blind is going to come in for a 3-bet to 155,000. We talk about it. We hum and we haw and we go ultimately. You know, he does have worse hands here than us that he plays for value, that he raise calls. You know, 10s, 9s, 8s, ace queen, ace king, potentially even ace jack, even though we block the ace jack. Of course, we have to assume that he does have aces, kings, and queens as well. Although this is a big size, and maybe he goes a little bit smaller with aces and maybe kings. But for the most part, I think we should include them. We should respect Kev Boy Star enough to include them in his 155k 3-betting range. But ultimately, we just have to go with it because we have 2 jacks for 18 big blinds, the 4th best hand, pre-flop, and we can't really be folding. So we do end up going all in. And obviously, never expecting Kev Boy Star to fold. He has got a really good price, 212k and a 587k. Folding with anything that you 3-bet here would be a ludicrous mistake. He calls, he has ace-queen, and we lose a flip. Oh, we ended up losing a 40 big blind pot there. I feel like I misplayed a few hands down the stretch. Not a ton, not big misplays, you know, not like stack costing misplays. We ended up getting 13th place, which was just a pay jump. We got a cash for $4,742, comboed with the 5.5k cash in the hot 215. Not a bad day for playing like 4 or 5 tournaments at all. But ultimately, that does sting. You know, it sucks. It always sucks to get final 2 tables, especially when we've been on a cheeky little downswing like we have been for the last few months. You're really just looking for that score, you know, get yourself back on track. But that ultimately was a pretty unfortunate hand. Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about it, you know? I feel like we played reasonably well for the most part. Like I did say, we did make a few mistakes, but for the most part, we did play pretty well. Thanks for checking out the run. The only reason that we did end up making this review from 2 weeks ago is because I wasn't streaming on this Tuesday. For the most part, I will just be streaming, and these will just be highlight videos, and I won't be like going back and talking over it and whatnot. But thank you guys so much for checking it out. If you guys did enjoy this, please let me know in the comment section below if you guys enjoyed it, if you want me to do more hand disc reviews like this. I mean, I have a bunch of tournaments. I have some 8-8 tournament wins. I obviously have some other wins on, I think I have another, yeah, I have another chop and three-handed in the Super Tuesday from years ago that we could do a hand history review on. I don't have a ton of time to make these, but I do have enough time where I can make a few more of these. So if you guys do enjoy these, make sure you let me know in the comment section below. Toss the video a like. Subscribe to the channel if you have a YouTube account and you haven't done so already. But yeah, as always, thank you guys for checking out the video. I have already taken too long on this intro. Goodbye, my friends. It's sellout time, boys. Check it out.